Well, my name is Alistair McGrath, and I'm a professor of theology in London and England, and for many years I studied the natural sciences in Oxford. The best argument of an atheist against God is to say simply God is unnecessary. I can live my life without God at all, and I can respect that. But I think I'd want to say that in effect that is simply saying I choose not to engage with this question. That in effect if there is a God I don't want to know about it, but for me it's in effect running away from the question. So for me, curiously, one of the best arguments from atheism is actually one of its weakest, because in effect it's a refusal to engage with the questions. I think in the Middle Ages, reason was understood as something that could point you in the right direction. Everyone knew that there were things that were true that reason couldn't prove, but nevertheless reason was seen as a reliable critic. It was a way of saying, are you sure that's right? It was a good guide to the way things were. Then at the time of the Enlightenment, we see this major change in Western European culture. There's this quest for a non-religious foundation for thought, for morality, for society. And reason is elevated to this supreme principle. And the real difficulty is that the Enlightenment, in effect, made reason the touchstone, the criterion of reliable knowledge. And you can see why they did that. But nevertheless, it proved incapable of rising to that challenge. And one of the reasons why the Enlightenment began to be criticized so heavily in the late 19th and early 20th centuries was that people realized that the Enlightenment was simply imprisoning us within a very limited rationalism. You can only accept what reason can prove, and that turns out to be very limited. Which is why postmodernity has moved away from that, realizing that there are multiple rationalities. Although postmodernity is critical of reason, it's very, very open to stories and images. And the New Testament gives us many stories that connect up with where people are, the parables of Jesus and so on. And of course, Scripture gives us many images, God as our shepherd and things like that, which actually can be used very powerfully to connect up with a postmodern imagination. I think if you look at older forms of apologetics, they are very adapted to a modern way of thinking. That means they are arguments that appeal to the reason. And very often these are very intricate, they are very abstract. In effect, they are about demonstrating the rationality of belief in God. Now, certainly for many people that's quite helpful. But it's not the question that many people are asking today. The questions they are asking is, look, what helps me lead the good life? What allows me to put my life on a firm foundation? What works for me? Maybe in the past the question was, what is true? Today very often the question is, what works? What makes a difference? And I would want to say that Christianity works because it's true. But I'm very conscious that for many people today, they want reassurance this is something that is real, not just true. If I was trying to describe my faith to my neighbor, I think what I would try and do is not give them 65 arguments for the existence of God. I think I would simply talk about the difference my faith makes to my life. It gives me a basis for living. It gives me security, it gives me meaning. It helps me cope with difficult times. Now, I very often quote Psalm 23, "The Lord is with me even when I walk through the valley of the shadow of death." In other words, I'm saying, look, I've discovered something that really has brought new depth, a new stability, a new richness to my life, and see if they might be interested in talking a bit more about that.